And the first thing we're going to do is something called pollo in padella. And this is a chicken breast that we're going to cook very quickly. And so all I did was flour the chicken breast with a little bit of salt and pepper. That's called dredging. And then I put them in a little bit of oil. So I've browned the chicken. And now I want to give this a little bit of added flavor because, you know, chicken breast by itself really doesn't have a lot of flavor. And for that, we want to use some pancetta. And this is pancetta. This is Italian unsmoked bacon. And when you buy this, you want to make sure that you have a really good ratio of meat to fat. And you see how beautiful this looks and how creamy white that fat is. That is the telltale sign that that is good pancetta. So you need about a half a pound of that, and here we have it all diced up. And we're going to add it now to the pan with the chicken. And this is going to crisp up some, give it a little bit more flavor, and add a little bit of fat to the pan as well. Okay, now, while that's in, let me talk to you about something else that I love to do with this dish, and that is to use tomatoes, of course. And one of the tomatoes that we saw in the garden were plum tomatoes. You see, these are plum tomatoes, nice, meaty tomatoes that Italians love to use for sauce. And we're going to make a sauce with plum tomatoes, and we're going to make a sauce today with cherry tomatoes. So here's what I like to do with a plum tomato. When I get it out of the garden and I have too many of them, I like to dry them. So I cut them in half, and then I put them on a dehydrator. If you don't have a dehydrator, you could put them on a cookie sheet with a rack over the top and cook them in a low oven until they look like this. You see? This is a half of this tomato, and it's bendable, almost like an apricot. That's the consistency you want. So you can get a bushel of tomatoes in a jar very easily after you dry them. So that's dried tomatoes. And then what I do is I take some red wine vinegar, put it in a pot, heat it up until it's just at the boil, and I put the tomatoes in it, and I just cook them for a minute. That sets the flavor and the color of the tomato. And you can just imagine the flavor that this is going to give this dish. You add the tomatoes, and then we want to give this a little bit of salt and some pepper. And with this dish, I love wine. This is a great dish. It's really a good country peasant dish. And add in, about a half to 2/3 of a cup of red wine, this wonderful Primitivo. And with it, some fresh lemon juice, just to spike up all those flavors. Now look at how easy this is. This is very quick, simple. If you have all the ingredients on hand, it's a cinch. Cover the pan, lower the heat after that wine has evaporated off some, and you're all set to enjoy a wonderful secondo. Sounds good, huh?